it looked like goaltender interference to me.
Right.
In that the goaltender was interfered with.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch the game?
Did you watch the game at all?
In the regular season, it would have been, but this is postseason hockey.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Dan, what they're trying to say is there are certain calls that you don't call in the postseason that you call in the regular season. Right. That's one of those calls.
Thank you.
Hide and stakes.
Thank you.
This needs to be stated, though, because this is one of the rare ones where the Panthers did get lucky. I know Panther fans are going to say, like, oh, whatever, in the regular season.
Did you watch the game?
This is the rare one, though, where the Panthers got a clear advantage with that call.
Right.
But they also dominated the game. Like, that is not the reason they won this game.
Well, it is the reason they tied it, though.
Yeah.
But if you look at the shots on goal, the whole series and last night, the
Right.
Panthers are dominating this series.
Understood, but Marchand is their postseason leading scorer, and he's not in the game because Bennett punched him in the face. And that's something that happened. It's one of the reasons that people are going to grow to hate the Panthers.
Well, keep in mind, that was going to be a late hit. He was delivering a hit on Sam Bennett. He saw it, tried to reverse hit, and then
punched him in the face.
Danny Melrose. I mean, I love this. Hockey expert.
Are you aware that the Boston Bruins, I don't think you want to go toe-to-toe with me on this, given how little you're paying attention to these games.
I don't.
Are you aware that the Boston Bruins are the worst team in the history of the sport at being down 3-1?
Nope.
They are 0-25 when they play games down 3-1.
Damn it, are they due?
no.
I'm completely neutral. In fact, I probably lean Panthers because I hate Boston sports. A little dicey, guys.
Yeah. Did you watch the game?
No.
Good analysis.
That's the question.
Okay,
Right? Did you watch the game?
Yeah,
That is awesome.
a little dicey with a moan is pretty good analysis. You don't often see, though, the situation. Roy, I'm correct on this, where Pavel Zacha is saying before this game, he's saying, we're going to take out their top guys.
Well, that was the motivation coming into this game because they know the series is over. Like, it's all Panthers. It's over.
Well, hold on a second. Coming into the game, the season wasn't over. It was 2-1. They could have tied up the series.
And if not for a cheating goal,
Exactly.
they'd still be playing right now.
Did you
There's
watch the
possibility.
game?
Right.
No, the Panthers have been so dominant in this game that they've basically taken the soul from them. So it's over. Like, they're going to end it on Tuesday.
I love a good Pavel on a hockey team.
You need one.
Yeah, you need to have
yeah,
one.
yeah.
You do. Yeah.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Do you need a Pavel on your hockey team? And speaking of things, getting things wrong or not watching enough of the games, can we just go back for a second to basketball, Stugotz? Because the Denver Nuggets, this is a good day, incidentally, for WFAT.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. The Knicks were down by 43 at one point yesterday.
Yep. The season's over. Give out the phone number. Enjoy a 20 share today, boys.
We'll get to that in a moment. But just so you know, in being down 43 points in that game, combined in all of their games since April 2nd, the Knicks have only been down 40. In all of their games since April 2nd, because they play close games.
Yep.
They were down 43 in that one. And if you go back to the beginning of last month and take all of their games, at the end of all of their games, they're down a total of 40.
It's amazing. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Jess said it last week. You felt like Game 2 was the apex of the Knicks season and will never get that good again. And I'm not certain she's wrong about that because – Dan, when they lost Game 3, and boy, did they have Game 3 on the road. When they lost that game, I said to myself, I don't think the Knicks can bounce back. I think the series is over. I mean, I feel like the Pacers are going to win this series.
So wait. Up 2-1, you thought the series was over in favor of Indiana?
When they didn't close out Game 3, I don't know if you watched that game or not, but I did.
I'm
when they
not
didn't
certain
close
he's
out,
wrong.
Yes, when they didn't close out Game 3, they had every opportunity to do it. They could have been up 3-0. Instead, it was 2-1. The Pacers blow them out in Game 4. Predictable. But I'm telling you, when they didn't get it done in Game 3, I said to myself, season's over.
The only reason it's not predictable, Stugotz, is because the Knicks only play close games. And even though they're undermanned, I've never heard anyone say in my history covering sports have such a bad relationship with their team that when a 2-0 series turns to 2-1, you're saying it's over even though you're up 2-1.
Yes.
Like, you have been scarred, dude. If that
Yep.
I have never heard that before from anybody, even though people are very comfortable proclaiming series over.
There's no OG. The Knicks were 26-5 when OG was in their lineup since they acquired him from the Raptors. They're 13-17 in games that OG has missed. He is out. I don't know if he'll be back for this series. I do not feel good about the Knicks' chances moving forward here, Dan. I don't.
Okay, that's an odd take, but because they're favored and they're the better seed, and Halliburton is still hurt, even though he seems to be shooting better.
Right.
But I will get to that in a second. But let's go ahead and play the sounder on a couple of people who were really loud wrong last week.
Gas bag of the week.
You guys worked real hard on that, huh? Like a lot of production work on that.
Gas bag of the week.
All right, so we've got two nominees
Says it all,
for you here. We've got both of them are off the Timberwolves Nuggets series. If you went to sleep early last night, one of my favorite things in sports is when a champion behaves like a champion and reminds you that it is a champion. And Jokic going for 35, 7, and 7 on the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. And putting him in foul trouble, getting him 5 fouls.
Aaron Gordon didn't miss all game. Jamal Murray in the third quarter was lights out. He was incredible.
Well, wait a minute. Like the end of that first half might be unlike anything I've ever seen.
Crazy.
In terms of eight points in 20 seconds. And one of them with Jamal Murray being what can be described as the most difficult shot ever made in basketball. Like rolling to your left, falling out of bounds, staying in bounds 3/4 of the court away from the basket. Like, you may argue that there is a shot that you've seen that's better in the history of basketball on degree of difficulty, but I'm going to say I can put that shot against anybody.
I mean, Jordan over Elo comes to mind. Jordan against Byron Russell at Utah comes to mind.
All easy shots.
Jordan, the layup against the Lakers comes to mind. All 6 threes he hit in the first half in game 1 against the Lakers.
Okay, you're not really making a good argument against what I'm saying. You're just reciting Jordan's highlights, which is an excellent way to win a basketball argument.
The shot against Georgetown to win Carolina a national championship. I mean, MJ.
Yes, thank you. But before we get to the video of that, can you give me the gas bag of the week nominees, their analysis after Denver fell down 0-2 against Minnesota? Our first nominee is Colin Cowherd. Chris Cody?
Out west, the story is the defending champs will not be repeat champs. That series, it's over. Denver's got no answers. And what I'm watching feels like what I'm watching is 2 talented teams, but one with Ant is super hungry, relentless, aggressive, and playing like an underdog. And the other team, Denver, is lethargic, starts slow, now plays from too far behind, is a little arrogant, is a little listless, and by the time they look up, they trail by 16. It's just, I think Denver's cooked. I think it's over.
The way he said it's over the first time had better condescension than the way that he said it the second time.
Great take at the time, though.
Well, it's easy. It's an easy take when a team has lost 2 home games.
Gas bag of the week.
What happened, Stugotz? Did a piece of your body just fall off? Like a rusty piece of your body that needed
but that's coming
WD-40?
soon. I mean, the Dead & Company, they're coming up this Thursday. That's coming soon.
What
Body
was
parts
that
are
sound?
It was a computer charger.
Let's play the other sound here. Who is this, Chris Cody? Who else is on?
Bill Simmons.
Okay, let's same series. Bill Simmons.
I think Minnesota is going to sweep Denver. I think the series. I've been through these a few times as a fan, and I think this one's done. And basketball is about to change as we know it.
He's been through this, so he knows.
He wrote the book.
He did actually write the book. Let's go back to that shot for a second, though, Stugotz, and in general, the last 9 seconds of the first half last night, because it really was magical. I don't know, and this is the criticism Minnesota's going to get, because you do have a team with championship savvy, pedigree, resume, all of it, playing against a team that people expect, because of their youth, and Anthony Edwards is 22, to fall apart and do dumb things in big moments because they haven't seen any of the moments like this before, where Denver went through a whole season of them last year, conquered. But you're up You're down in the game, and Anthony Edwards has just hit a three. And from what I'm looking at there with 9 seconds left, they have the ball until the end of the half. I don't see a shot clock. So basically, this game, the worst you can do in this situation, the worst you can do if you're a young, smart team looking to beat a champion is not score and go into the half with the score the same way it looks right now. Instead, you have to sit in the halftime locker room with this because Anthony Edwards goes into the paint too early.
Edwards lost the ball with the turnover. Nice Denver D. Porter at the other end, and he tries and he gets it to go. Beating the clock. Court length. That's intercepted. Murray good at the go. Got it.
So good.
Do you guys have the still image, the still photographic image of Murray? And I'm really stunned, Stugotz, that you have not yet just shouted, Murray, because this would be the time to do it after making that shot.
I was about to do it.
Kevin Harlan is screaming in the face of Jamal Murray, who isn't looking at Kevin Harlan, incidentally. He's looking at Reggie Miller, who is stupefied. Like the shot from the other angle of Reggie Miller was of him completely stupefied, the way you would theatrically in a movie if you were acting for a part, act stupefied. You need to get the part where he's back in his chair like this. Like if he's being blown back by a wind tunnel of disbelief because he can't believe that Jamal Murray just made that shot. And Jamal Murray is exceedingly pleased with himself because he knows, an anonymous executive said this, Stugotz, and I thought it was pretty spot on. He knows that he shouldn't be playing in these games. He should have been suspended, and an anonymous executive has been quoted as saying Adam Silver was protecting the TV ratings, was protecting that series, doesn't want Denver knocked out early, and so they didn't suspend him when he threw all that stuff on the court after game 2 in frustration because he was
a heating pad.
Yeah, well, it was more than that, though. Right. It wasn't just a heating pad. It was 2 or 3 things that he threw on the court, and he was 3 for 18 in the game. He was frustrated, and that'll get you suspended. I thought it was an interesting... Does anyone else think that's interesting? Now, it is an anonymous executive because nobody would say that about Adam Silver on the record. But the idea that Jamal Murray wasn't suspended in that situation only because Denver needed Jamal Murray because they're down 0-2 and you can't have everyone thinking what Bill Simmons and Colin Cowherd said was so. When that series is super interesting, you want that series to go 7 games.
You want it to go 7 games. I'm not certain if you're the NBA, you don't want Minnesota to win that series, though, because you want Anthony Edwards to continue. You want that storyline to continue because we've had the Jokic storyline already.
Sure, but would you rather have it end in 7 where you can get more eyeballs, more people in the stadium, or end in 4 if Jamal Murray, their second best player, is out?
Were you guys as interested in that game as I was, or did you all go to sleep early because you were watching Caitlin Clark and the Panthers and you didn't have time for the late game?
No, I watched all of this game. I kind of wish Kevin Harlan had they had chest bumped or something. Yeah. It feels like there should have been some sort of handshake. They were both staring each other down, and I wish they had really just gone for it.
Well, I don't think they were staring each other down because Harlan was getting up and screaming in his direction, and it looks like he was yelling at Murray. But Murray's gaze is directly on a stunned Reggie Miller, a stupefied Reggie Miller. Can you guys tell me, outside of Stugotz's list of Michael Jordan highlights, can you guys give me, by degree of difficulty, a shot you've seen in your life more difficult than the one Jamal Murray made? I was surprised he even stayed in bounds, Stugotz.
Right.
That he was even able to stay in bounds, going to his left like that and being 3/4 of the court away from the rim and shooting it that perfectly as if all of that was planned, as if that's something that he practiced, when I thought he was just going to go out of bounds and the half was going to end that way. Can you guys give me a shot that you remember anywhere that the degree of difficulty would have been more, that you could argue was more than that
in
one?
the NBA? I played some games of horse where I tell you, some of them you go, you do the no look over the head, one hand backwards. Right. Sometimes you're going, there's a patch of concrete, you jump off the patch of concrete over a chair to go like this, And then if it's
so
a bank situation,
you feel like you've made one that's got a
horse?
greater degree
yeah.
of difficulty in horse.
Honestly, there should be professional horse. Horse is more entertaining than basketball, regular basketball. Is it not? Am I wrong?
You are wrong.
You could watch trick shot videos on YouTube to your heart's
Thank
content.
you.
How about the Wade game winner at the very end against the Warriors? Remember, he got the ball back and then he double clutched and threw it off. I mean, that's
You're saying that was a better shot?
I mean, it's just in terms of awkwardness.
But how about Billy's?
He didn't see it, though. He didn't watch the game. How about the Jokic one where he gets it, turns around, throws it above his head, bank shot, goes
Anthony
in for
Davis,
the win.
Over Anthony Davis twice.
Dan, I got to tell you, I owe Denver an apology because you brought something up. They're down 0-2. They're going on the road, and that's where champions kind of shine. They'll get themselves back into the series. I didn't think Denver had that in them. I don't know what I'm doing with Jokic and Murray and Aaron Gordon as well, who was great, not just in Game 4 but also Game 3. I did not think Denver had that in them. They were going to go on the road, tie the series at 2 games apiece, and bring it home for a pivotal Game 5. I love a pivotal Game 5. I do.
What you are doing with Jokic is the same thing you've been doing with Jokic, which is pronouncing his name incorrectly. So you don't respect him enough to even pronounce his name correctly.
The
even
Joker.
Though he's he's a three-time MVP.
I know.
And again, 35-7-7 last night on the road when they need to save their season against a team uniquely qualified to throw giant, difficult bodies at him. It is impressive to watch. But let's go back for a second to WFAT. Because Stugotz has to be wounded today. The Knicks and Pacers game was not in any way interesting. And now Stugotz is officially scared.
I'm terrified. I mean,
that's why it is interesting, because Knicks fans are scared, and I love that.
We should be scared. I mean, we have 3.5 players, and Obi Toppin's playing out of his mind. I mean, it's crazy.
That Pacers offense has been good all year, though. That's what they do.
I know.
But that's what they do at home. It's not, they're bad on the road, and 6 seeds 10. Teams like the Pacers, I remember this happened with the 42-40 Heat team that didn't want to trade Brian Grant for Shaq. People fell in love with that team. It couldn't win road games. Was totally incapable. It was a Dwayne Wade, Brian Grant, Lamar Odom team, incapable of winning road games. The Pacers, they're undefeated in the postseason at home. And have they won a game on the road? Did they win one of the Milwaukee games on the road? I think they did.
They did.
Maybe they did. But I think it was the game that both Giannis and Lillard were out. And, teams with 2 leading scorers out to that point were 0-13. And then the next game, the Bucks drilled them. The Pacers are a bad road team.
Thinking of the watch party that we did, Stack has changed my perception of Pascal Siakam, I think, forever.
He really has.
He's like, hey, he has no bag. He's trash. He's garbage. And I'm like, nah, Siakam's pretty good. Like, I like his interior moves and stuff. I was watching the game. There was one play where he gets the ball in the middle of the paint, kind of does like 2 pump fakes with nobody around him, hits a fadeaway shot and bricks it. I was like, ooh, he's not that good, is he?
He is a rugged, I think Stack called him a 2.5, not a 1, not a 2, a 2.5.
Because someone here called him a 1.
Right.
And he's like, no, more like a 2.5.
He's not a 1. There's no way he's 30 years old either. I mean, that guy looks like he's 64 years old. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's some of that stuff with foreigners can be dangerous. We've been doing it a lot. I think we started with.
I said I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did say you were sorry, but not before you said it without apology. You said it first and then immediately apologized. And
how do I do that moving forward?
Well, don't say it. I would say would be the way to go instead of apologizing insincerely immediately after saying it because you just wanted to say it.
It's fair. I mean, I should watch the games.
That too. That would help. But Siakam is physically strong and will go into the paint with his elbows and shoulders and will knock
much else.
We'll knock you over and we'll hit some mid-range jumpers after bumping you off of him. And at the end of games, it's Nembhard who's going to be taking the shots because Siakam is not Kawhi Leonard and was better as a 2 next to Kawhi Leonard. But the Knicks never got to within 27 in the second half of the Pacers yesterday. Mm-hmm. And you want these games to be close. The Knicks have played almost nothing but close games. Josh Hart, Stugotz gave them nothing. But he did, before the game, say something.
He looked like Josh Hart again.
Well, it's weird, right? Josh Hart is 17 rebounds over here, 19 points over here. And what did he do yesterday? 2 points? He didn't do
2 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists.
Yeah, just
Josh Hart.
A weird game. After every game this postseason, he's put up some statistical line that you're like, whoa. I think somebody, who was it that was talking? Was it Goldsberry was talking that he was shooting like 30% from 3 before he injured his wrist, and then the wrist got injured and his shot stopped being crooked. Then he started shooting like 40-something% from 3.
He needs to injure that wrist again.
It reminded me of like Shane Battier was in a terrible slump, and in the finals he just said, "You know what? I'm gonna aim a little left now. I'm just off, and so I'm gonna aim like to miss and see if that works." And then he made a bunch of threes. But Josh Hart, I thought, did the pay the whales, save the teachers, and I know I'm saying that wrong. He said
I think you got it right, actually.
The perfect thing, Stugotz, to get fans on his side when you're trying to be lovable. They're asking him about all the minutes that he's playing, and he says, people get up at 6 a.m., 12-hour shifts.
Attaboy.
Those people are tired. We're playing a game.
Well done, man.
It's good. It's just giving the customer exactly what the customer. That should be a part of your ticket. It should come on your ticket, a quote where a player tells you how hard your job is compared to his. Like they should sell that on the Game Time app. It's like if you want to feel better about your team and how much you've paid for the ticket, print on it a quote from one of the players saying your job is harder than his job is.
Dan, what we do is we combine forces of like a Game Time and a Cameo, where you buy your ticket on Game Time and then you get a personalized cameo from Josh Hart saying, buddy, your job is way harder than what we're doing.
I work hard, you work harder.
Exactly right.
Yes. Love it.
But Josh Hart isn't even saying that. He's not even saying he works hard. He's just saying people get up at 6 a.m., 12-hour shifts. Those people are tired. We're playing a game. It is the perfect. I'm telling you, if I could put one quote in a PR class for players, I'd just say, you know what? Do you want a great marketing deal? Don't worry about how well you're playing. Just say that again and again anytime someone puts a microphone in front of your face to any question. Anything you're being asked, just say some form of how hard the customer's job is compared to yours.
Those customers work at Goldman Sachs. I mean,
the ones with the good seats in New York. Yes, they not only work at Goldman Sachs, many of them are involved in schemes because the scheme is having a renaissance throughout American Greed. My father the other day says to me, turns to me, have you seen that show, American Greed? I'm like, yes, it's amazing. He's like, I'm watching it all night. I can't stop watching it. Yes, America's filled with scammers who are trying to get a shortcut to easy money because they don't want to get up at 6 a.m. and work 12-hour shifts so that their jobs make them more tired than hard.
Yeah.
Stacey Keach with the voiceover there is incredible, by the way. I love that.
Stugotz is, put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Is Stugotz the stubbled face of American Greed? You love your shortcuts.
I'm voting yes on that.
Yes. Roy, I watched the game.
Did you?
That tying goal was goaltender interference.
Roy, we got a little lucky there. Come on.
GI.
Billy has analysis on the Timberwolves Nuggets series that I have not heard anywhere else in American media. There are a lot of people gathered around the trough here having opinions, giving you analysis, trying to stand out and be different. But Billy had a thought that I haven't heard any basketball expert have on that series.
Well, so someone reached out to us on social media and asked a great question that I had not considered, and I actually don't know the answer to this. And I'm in a room full of experts here, so I was wondering if maybe you guys would know. If Minnesota wins, does A-Rod get a ring?
Yeah.
Well, no.
Well, why not?
Because I don't think he owns the team.
Yeah, but Nomar Garciaparra, I think, got a Red Sox World Series ring, and he was traded to the Dodgers halfway through the season.
So he played some games for the Red Sox, but I guess...
Well, A-Rod promised to sign the checks, and I don't think ever did, but promised to, and, showed up. Look, at the very least, A-Rod lived in Minnesota for some time, and that should count for something, right?
Agreed, yes.
Did he?
Yes.
Well, he was at a bunch of games, unless he was in and out, flying back home to Miami at night and then back to Minnesota the next day. Seems inefficient.
I don't think he has a home in Minnesota.
Well, maybe he leased it. Maybe he subletted. Maybe is it
perhaps
efficiency? Who knows?
I would recommend to the audience to listen to the recent episode that Pablo Torre did on Pablo Torre Finds Out on the giant business mess that is the Timberwolves ownership situation, because it's an ownership situation. Like, it's bad, where Glenn Taylor's been a bad owner for a long time. And then as soon as A-Rod gets in, the team is better than it's ever been.
That's what I'm saying. So does he get a ring or not?
It looks like A-Rod took up a residence on the shores of Lake Winnetonka. How about that? In Minnesota.
Took up residence?
Yeah.
He was there on Friday.
And it's
DJing.
Minnetonka. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
You made it Winnetonka?
It's a camp, yeah.
It can be
Winnetonka
if they get to the championships.
Isn't the land of 10,000 lakes? Maybe there is a lake with that name.
You never seen Purple Rain?
No.
Oh, man.
I just can't unhear Joe Biden saying Minnesota whenever we talk about Minnesota. That's my contribution to this
Thank you,
conversation.
Jessica.
I think he gets a ring.
I do not. Well, he gets a ring if he installs himself as owner again. There's no way if he's fighting with Glenn Taylor's going to, it's messy. The reason I'm telling you to listen to what Pablo Torre is saying, because this fight is a good one. You don't normally get to see these ownership fights. This stuff always happens in the shadows. Power ends up being something that doesn't get seen when it's misbehaving. And the way these guys are fighting over the team is something that's super messy, and Pablo went into the weeds on the business of it. It's difficult subject matter, and he tackled it very well. And I would answer that no. I would say that there is no circumstance in which Glenn Taylor would give A-Rod a ring unless he gives A-Rod the team. If he gives A-Rod the team, then A-Rod can give himself a ring if he'd like.
A-Rod posted a video of him shoveling snow during a snowstorm in Minnesota, shoveling the driveway. I mean, feels like he's deserving.
That earns you a ring right there.
Yeah.
Dan, I didn't watch the Pablo Torre Finds Out thing, but I did see a graph that had numbers on it, and I was like, ooh, because the number graph thing, I didn't really want to do that one.
Yeah.
But I do think he's got a minority percentage ownership in the Wolves, but he tried to buy it to where he was a majority owner of the Wolves. Am I correct?
Who?
A-Rod.
No, the opposite. The former owner was selling it to them, and then he secretly went behind their back and he bought out a minority owner. So even if they got everything that they were going to buy, he'd still be the majority owner.
Okay, so I didn't listen. But the point is, he's still a minority owner, right? That means he should get a ring as a minority owner.
He may indeed still be a minority owner.
I thought something. I thought something happened where they lost all of their stake. We should probably listen to this episode.
Yes,
then
that's
or
just have others do it. Well, put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you avoid things that are that have numbers and graphs? Give me the stat of the day music.
Start of the day. Start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day. Start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day.
Speaking of not getting rings, this isn't the stat of the day, but Wes Welker played 8 years with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and never won a ring. It's one of the great stats in sports, but it's not the one I'm going to here. This one I think is better. There are 4 teams in the AFC East. That's not the stat of the day.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
That is a fact. There are 4 teams in the AFC East. Do you want to guess where it is the Jets rank in division titles?
Second.
What?
5th.
What?
5th among 4 teams because the Colts used to be in the AFC East, and I'd forgotten all about that.
Right.
It's been so long that I had simply forgotten that the AFC East used to have 5 teams in it, and so therefore the Colts have won more AFC Easts than the Jets have.
Peyton Manning started his career in the AFC East.
He did.
That is correct.
You're going back to like Burt Jones, though.
I'm going back a ways, but not that far, because Peyton Manning, as he said, as Roy said, started in the AFC East, and that's where some of those were won. I'm looking here for the credit on that, and I cannot find it. That is not my stat. It is somebody else's stat, and I will find it and give the credit where it is due.
Just give him a ring.
Stats don't belong to people.
That's right.
They're facts. This is a fact, Jack. I mean, someone took the time to look it up for whatever reason, but you go to Wikipedia and you go to AFC East or whatever and division titles by whatever. Tony, do it right now. Then it becomes your stat.
Thank you.
It's just there. It's information. Like today's temperature is 98 degrees. That's not something I own. It's a fact.
And it's 89 in the studio.
Neil Driscoll is the person who had the stat, and we should try to credit people when they look this stuff up instead of stealing the stats.
But to Billy's point, where did Neil get it from?
Exactly right.
Did he credit somebody?
Well, he may have.
Neil didn't make it up.
Well, he may have looked it. He may have looked it up. Like earlier in the show, I looked up that how many because the Knicks have played.
You don't have to defend crediting a source. You just don't have to do it. This is not a good faith argument from anyone else in the room.
Neil didn't invent electricity here. You know what I mean?
Such a journalist.
They're not writers. They don't understand. You credit your sources.
Nah.
Well, it also takes the responsibility of being wrong off of you. Now you like it. Now you guys like it.
Easily.
Journalism's too confusing. Sometimes you credit your sources. Sometimes you're not allowed to. It seems you pick and choose whenever you want. This time I say my source. Next time I don't say my source. Sometimes I make stuff up and I just say I have sources, but I can't reveal them and no one can verify that. It's exhausting.
Earlier in the show, the stat I gave you about the Knicks was something that I personally looked up. It's not something that
you credit yourself.
Yeah, I didn't credit myself. I was able to just say
in this case, Billy's source is meaning a citation, not a person.
See?
But a person can.
Now the same word means 2 different things.
I hated that shit, writing papers,
Oh,
sourcing. God. I just wrote anything.
Plagiarism. I mean, try to avoid that.
What do you mean you just wrote it?
No, he's right about
like
that.
The
I know what he's talking
formatting, it was just like,
the bibliography page. Like, give me a break.
I hated that page.
What?
The bibliography page.
No, he's right.
I know exactly what when you write a paper, you gotta like put this shit at the end of where you found shit.
No, a bibliography is a story about a person.
No, the
and then if
bibliography
you write it
page,
yourself, it's an
Billy.
autobibliography.
I know it's like my boy Cook. Stupid page. Just believe what I write.
There is
MLA format can go to hell.
Oh God!
Thank you.
There is nothing surprising about everything that's happening in the irresponsibility, the general inaccuracies of the room. Too tired to be responsible, too lazy to actually credit people or do anything that resembles work so that people can trust you as credible and accurate.
Yeah. Cut us some slack, Dan. We're in the middle of a hockey run.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's exhausted. It won't stop.
So after the hockey run, Chris will tell us how much he loved making citations.
After the hockey
I'm sure
run,
he will. I have faith in him.
we'll give Neil Driscoll all the credit he deserves.
After the hockey run, Chris will sit down and write a book, an autobibliography, as Billy likes to call it. I saw something from Isos PETA on Twitter, Stugotz, that I thought was pretty damn great. And it's the rare Cavs coverage from our show because we haven't done much with the Cavs so far this postseason. But, Tony, tell me if you don't think this is correct. He writes, I think Karis LeVert has a wheel in his head with a collection of random NBA players anywhere from Michael Jordan to Anthony Bennett, and he spins it every possession to see who he's going to play like.
That's good.
He never plays like Jordan.
There's some plays where he's incredible, and I'm like,
oh.
He does sometimes, Stugotz.
I care about
just
you,
when
dude.
the wheel lands in his head, that one possession. It's not very much, but every once in a while, for a single possession, it lands on Jordan, and that's who he plays like.
The Jordan sliver is a little smaller, so when it hits him, he's like, oh, perfect, I got one.
Mike Breen is going to join us, and I'm going to try and play a fun game with Mike Breen where I play his bangs back to him because I want to see if he recognizes what they sound like when he made them, where he was emotional.
Is that legal?
Playing his bangs back to him.
How do you have that?
Right. You mean the call?
Dissemination?
No, I mean the sex.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean the sex tapes.
Okay. Is that legal?
Who owns the word bang?
Breen.
Oh, good.
I don't think that's accurate. I don't think you know what you're talking about. I think you just say things, don't credit anybody, and often get it wrong.
When you think bang, who do you think of?
Adam West.
Ron Jeremy.
Wow.
Bros.
Wow. Huh.
So was it isospida or isospida?
It might be isospida.
Oh, no.
PETA, Dan?
He's hungry.
Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate that.
I was asking.
Yeah, I said it wrong.
It's okay.
PETA are the animal people. You don't want to cross them.
Also the bread.
Yeah.
Love pita bread.
Another one of those words that means two different things.
So you're going to play bangs back for Breen is
That's
what you're
correct.
going to do.
Because I believe that what I saw from him in Game 3 of Pacers Knicks is the most guttural bang I've ever heard. He was surprised, I think, and as we all were. I mean, what the hell is Nembhard doing taking that shot? What's he doing making that shot? And I believe that Mike Breen went and grabbed that bang straight from his nether regions, and I think it caught him off guard. I don't think he expected to do that. I don't think he wanted to do that. I think he was made sad by that shot, but the whole thing startled him. He's a veteran, and I just think that he got rattled, and I believe it's the loudest bang I've ever heard from him.
He said it with his chest.
No, it wasn't his chest. It was lower. It was lower. It was not his chest. It was. We'll ask him, but I believe it's the most emotional bang I've ever heard from him, and I'm going to claim that it's because he didn't want to be biased or seen as biased, and so he went an extra step. Always grateful for the time of Mike Breen. He is a pillar of professionalism. The voice of the NBA has been doing it very well at the top of the game for a long time, but clearly was biased and corrupt at the end of that Game 3, Indiana, New York.
Are you trying to say that he's overcompensating because he doesn't want to show his Knick colors?
Yes, well, let's play the audio for him and the rest of you, and I want all of you just to hear where the bang came from. I want you guys to all hear with me how surprised he was. And I'm convinced it's not just the drama of the moment. It's also Nembhard, really? Really? From there, Nembhard, really? That's how we're doing this. I believe his heart was totally broken in that spot, and he was trying to conceal it. And the way that he concealed it, because this is a lovable Knicks team, and how can he not be emotional? But he tries not to be biased. He tries to be objective, and it's a human illusion. We can't be objective.
His Nembhard was broken.
Yes, that's go sit outside.
Oh, come on, man.
Go sit
not
outside.
before the interview.
Go sit.
Come on.
You got Mike Breen here.
Top 5 trademark calls
you
for
can
him.
come back in 2 minutes with your trademark calls.
Oh, come on.
Go ahead and play for, and welcome Mike Breen. Go ahead and play for Mike Breen this call, and we'll see how and whether he denies the accusation because he's a liar.
Halliburton double team, shot clock at 4. Nembhard's got to put it up. Step back, his three-pointer. Nembhard knocks the three down. Timeout, Knicks.
It's an excellent call. You'd never know he was biased and corrupt there. You just wouldn't know it. You would think that he was. Mike, welcome to the program. I'm sorry for the accusation. It is nice to see you. Where does that rank in terms of most guttural bangs from you in the history of bangs?
Why would you do this to me this early in the morning? I turned on the Zoom call, and the first phrase I hear is guttural bang from you.
I mean, listen to it. You can. What happened? Why are you covering your ears? Are you like Gene Hackman couldn't watch himself act? He wouldn't watch his own movies. You can't listen to yourself call a game?
No, you get sick of hearing the screaming fool. So I've heard it already. What's the particular question, Dan? And it's nice to see you, by the way.
Where does that rank in terms of your best when it comes to really going and summoning what the moment means and reaching it with, volume and grace?
I try. I don't really rank them, but anytime one is makes a difference in a playoff game, especially that particular game, I think is up high. And what made that game so amazing, I actually felt the entire second half. You know, at the end of a great playoff game, the last 2 minutes, it's one of the most magical things in sports. A close playoff game in the last 2 minutes. That game felt like the entire second half was played under those circumstances. So for then Brunson to go hit that big shot in a game that he had struggled, and then for Nembhard to come down, and the most unlikeliest guy in a possession that was about to fall apart. It's the surprise of the moment. Those are the ones to me that, it's my love of the game fan reaction to see something like that happen in such an important game. Because if he doesn't hit that, the series is probably over. They're down 3-0. But this young man who had just missed 2 wide open ones, so many things come into play to have that, as you call it, guttural bang.
You are someone, this is a rare space that you occupy, in that I very rarely see you criticized as one of the lead play-by-play men for being biased, for picking a side. You're very clearly a fan of basketball, but you're also a fan of the Knicks and have been for a long time. So how in that moment do you actually feel, and how are you able to convey something that feels like objectivity, where you just love basketball and not that your team is getting broken? Because you have relationships on that team. You have people you care about in that organization.
Right. There's no question. And I try my very best when I put the headset on. And there's so many things that are going on that you have to do your job, not just for you, but for your partners, for everybody in the truck, to do a professional job. So you just have to, and I've done it over the years. I haven't done it a lot in recent years because the Knicks haven't been in these kind of big playoff positions in recent years. But it's just it's a matter of concentration, making sure you give that particular play the proper call that it deserves. For that young man to hit a shot like that under those circumstances, you want to make sure that you do that justice. And that's what I try to do on something like that. That one was just because it was so unexpected, just came flying out. I'm sure there are Knicks fans who are annoyed with me for having such a big, excited call for an opponent to beat them in a playoff game. But that's what the job entails, and you hope everybody understands. But Dan, as you know, we all go through this. Every announcer goes through this, especially in the postseason when fans' emotions are high, and they should be high, and they should be fired up for their team, that they always think that you're rooting for the other team. It happens every single postseason. This one is just a little different because I'm the regular season announcer for the Knicks.
I think Knicks fans forgive you, Mike. I'm a big fan. I've listened to probably every game you've called this year. My boyfriend's a huge fan of yours and of the Knicks. Could you talk him off the ledge right now? Like, what is your message to Knicks fans after these last two games?
Stugotz, you're not going to believe this. Stugotz, after they lost Game 3, Stugotz, who's a Knicks fan, up 2-1, says it's over. The Pacers are going to win. I've never seen that kind of defeat from a fan.
Well, as Mike said, the Knicks should have won that Game 3. They didn't. They got blown out predictably in Game 4. And, Mike, I fear that the season is now over. I do.
Well, there's still of the next 3 games, possible 3 games, 2 of them are in an arena right now that is lifting their team up to heights every time they play, as did the Pacer fans do for the Pacers this past weekend. But it's a legitimate question because, listen, they had nothing yesterday. The first punch comes, they were always able to come back. They didn't have enough to come back. You could tell that they had nothing. They were gassed. The question is that just a one-game thing, or are they really to the breaking point in terms of physical exhaustion? Because what they've done, not just in the playoffs, but the second half of the regular season, so many minutes, so much extra responsibility, so many games where they laid it out on the line. I can't remember ever a Knicks team that at the end of games looked so totally exhausted. It's been inspiring to watch how they've done it, but the question is, have they hit their limit? And we'll find out obviously tomorrow night. OG Anunoby loss really hurts. I don't think he's close to returning, certainly not in the next couple of games. That could change, who knows? But tomorrow night is going to be fascinating to find out if they have anything left in them, or have they really put it all out there to the point where they can't fight back against a really good and deeper team right now.
We have some video here to show you that is hard to explain. We have a theory around here. Perhaps you have one as well. Here is the video of Clyde Frazier eating French fries in a way none of us have seen French fries eaten before. He is eating them not with his fingers in a cup of French fries, but just eating from the rim of the cup of French fries. We think we know why this is. Do you know why this is?
All right, here's a guess, is that he doesn't want to get the grease from the French fries on his fingers and have any possibility of touch that magical suit that he looked so wonderful in yesterday. So that's my guess. I'm surprised he did eat. I'm surprised he had the French fries out in public like that, because he's very careful about maintaining this aura that he eats nothing but healthy stuff. I've watched him for years have Snickers bars underneath the table and eating them. So it's a false narrative.
Okay, so he's hiding his bad eating, and that was our theory, that he just doesn't want to get his fingers on the clothes at all, because that wardrobe is unlike anything in the history of the sport.
No, he's impeccably dressed, and he doesn't want anything to touch that would damage that look, because he looked marvelous yesterday.
I would like to play for you just a couple of your bangs, and I want I want you to see if I want to just see if you can identify the bang. I think just let's not give him any context. Let's just give him the.
He'll know the game, the day, the time of the bang.
There's going to be some slight context here, but you're not going to hear any player's name. It's just going to be an isolated bang, and you have to guess which call it was.
We've only got 2 of them for you here, and it was before we tried to do this before we knew you were uncomfortable with it, and now we're just being stubborn about it and not caring about your feelings. So let's play the first one.
Way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from...
Oh, that's an easy one. That's Curry in Oklahoma City.
Taken by Iguodala. They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
The rare double bang. There have only been 6 of those ever, I think, in the history of.
Do I win a prize for guessing it
Man,
right?
he's flexing on us. Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, well, that one was easy. All of a sudden, he likes the game.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's less he's less uncomfortable than he was before. Let's play the other one for him.
His three-pointer. Bang!
Oh, come on!
He knows that.
Come on! How did we not do better than that?
It's Ray Allen.
Yes, of course it's Ray Allen.
James catches, puts up a three. Won't go. Rebound, Bosh. Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang! Tie game with 5 seconds remaining.
You were looking for a bang like on a Tuesday night, Cavs and Wizards, right?
Yes,
I think Mike's calling that game.
It's bad executive producing from Chris Cody, who was sent 8 of these and picked the 2 we all know.
All right, here we go. Here's another one. There you go. You guys want to play the game? There it is.
When, Mike?
My head.
There you go. Now we're playing it your guys' way. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, my goodness. I have no idea.
That's also the Curry one again.
Downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from downtown.
Chris wins.
Stugotz has a top 5 list for you of the trademark calls throughout broadcasting. Do you have any OLIs, or is it just a top 5?
I have 6 OLIs, yes.
Oh, 6 of them.
Yes,
All right.
or 7 maybe. I don't
6
know.
outside looking in, 7 if Stugotz is bad at math. Let's go.
OLI number 1, bang.
Oh, really? It's not a top 5. Okay.
Yep.
Not a top 5. Insulting to our guests.
You literally could have done a top 10 with one OLI.
I could have done that. I didn't. It's a top 5.
Keep going.
Lee Corso's Not So Fast, My Friend.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Harry Carries.
Oh, holy cow.
Keith Jackson. Oh, Nelly.
Good timing, Chris.
Thank you. Booyah, Stuart Scott. As cool as the other side of the pillow, Stuart Scott. Dave Johnson, down the stretch they come.
You got 5 better than those.
I have one more OLI. Jim Nantz. Hello, friends. Number 5. Hand down, man down.
Really?
It's a great call. I mean, Mike will tell you, great call, right, Mike? Trademark call.
He's just staring at us quietly, stoically, and he said it's great because he's a good teammate. Number 4.
Mama, there goes that man.
Wow, 2 of them for Mark Jackson.
Yep.
2 of them. Number 3.
Christopher Mad Dog Russo. Good afternoon, everybody. How are you today?
Is that a trademark call?
Oh, it is.
Absolutely.
Is it?
Intro.
Yep.
It's just him. Okay.
It's my list.
Number 2.
That was, if you're in New York, you waited every afternoon to hear that when they came on the air.
Yep.
When
Thank
they
you.
rule the airways, those 2.
Thank you, Mike. WFAT. Number 2, Bang Bang.
Oh, congratulations, Mike. Number 2 on the list. You got 1 better than that.
I do. Kevin Harlan, right between the eyes.
How do you feel about that list, Mike?
I love the list. I love Kevin being on the list. Where's Marv's yes?
Oh
my
wow.
God.
It's my list. Make your own.
Oh, my
Oh.
God.
Jeez.
Where is Marv's yes? Were you
a great
jealous
point.
yesterday when Murray and Harlan had a face-off on the single greatest shot I've ever seen by degree of difficulty in the sport? Were you jealous that Harlan and Murray had that moment together and that you were not in it?
Not at all. Kevin's one of my best friends in the business. I love Kevin. His passion is amazing. And Murray, interestingly, is a huge, he's a fan of our medium and a fan of calls. Like he grew up listening to Marv. And there was a game in the finals last year where he hit a shot and he turned to the table and he yelled bang to us at the table. So he watches and listens, so he's into it, and I thought that was a great moment for him and for Kev.
How often, give me a number of times a player has shouted bang at you.
Oh, not that much. Not as much. Not as much as you think. I can't believe this is what we're talking about this morning.
Do you like the meme that has your face on it that says, "I'm about to say bang, so MF loud"?
Well, I get my kids tease me all the time about stuff like that. So it's what I like is what happens a lot at arenas, especially at the Garden, is they'll come up with their cell phones recording the younger generation, and they'll stick the cell phone in your face and say bang for me, say bang, say. That's all they want me to do is yell bang. They don't want a picture, they don't want anything else. They just want me to yell bang into their phone.
They're not even ambitious enough to ask for a double bang. That's terrible.
No, that hasn't started. That hasn't started yet.
You seem sad by this, by the way.
I mean, another convincing argument on the idea of just banishing young people from interacting with anybody. Thank you, Mike. Good talking to you. Stugotz, you know how much I love going back and visiting 1990s baseball. Yesterday, during the Dodgers-Padres game, I'm not even kidding you, I felt like a dinosaur had wandered onto the field because Yarborough is throwing about 86, 87 miles an hour to Arise, who's just trying to slap a single to left. And so I'm watching baseball from another time. Like it was like watching Jamie Moyer. Like I didn't know there was a guy I didn't know there was a guy in the big league still throwing in the 80s. Like I didn't think that was a thing. I didn't think that was possible.
Little slap single. I mean,
yeah, it was baseball from another time, but
a better time, Dan.
I disagree.
Okay,
it is not a better time. Those games were 4 hours long. I needed those games sped up a little bit.
I do kind of miss when like you only had one guy that threw 99. Like remember when Matt Lindstrom threw 99? How impressed we were by it.
It was a thing. Yeah.
I love being nostalgic about the things that like a lot of people say they don't like about baseball. Not that specifically, but games being 5 hours long. That's fun. Baseball's great.
So you miss the slop tosser? You miss the guy who throws a crouton up there, a Luis Aquino who's throwing 88 the entire game trying to hit the paint.
The Negros, yes.
Jamie, you said it right.
Well, that's 45 miles an hour. That second goal from the Bruins last night was a knuckleball.
Oh, that was ridiculous, man.
I was a high school baseball player sitting in the crowd being like, I could hit this guy. Jamie Moyer, I've seen 87 before.
Jason Varitek could have made that save, really. That knuckleball.
Yeah.
I want to get to that hockey game because, Stugotz, I was afraid of both of those franchises that the Panthers faced in the first two rounds. And I was saying before the playoffs started that this is the most championship-worthy hockey team that we've ever had down here. And you can make the argument throughout all of our sports region that outside of the University of Miami football teams and the LeBron-era Miami Heat, that these Panthers are most championship worthy. What they did to Tampa and the way they did it. What they're doing to Boston, which is a very good team where you're just destroying them. Like the idea that I came in here today and everyone was still confident that the Panthers were going to win that game when they were down 2-0, where every Panthers playoff game I've ever seen before this team, if they're down 2-0, that's over. But because of the style of hockey that they play, because they're so physical, because they're so annoying, because they're so relentless, because they will fight you, because this series is about physically fighting. Like we haven't even gotten to game 5 and we're already. You saw this, Roy. George Richards, legendary sports writer down here, is fighting with Boston media members, and we have escalated in hockey to the official chirping stage. We have gotten to the stage where people are chirping.
People hate the Panthers now. It's just a sight to behold. I'm just not used to it now. We have all the attention. It's a beautiful thing as a Panthers fan.
Yes or no, we've escalated to the chirping stage?
Oh, we have. We have.
Why is George Richards fighting with Boston media?
Because Boston is scared.
Chirping stage.
They're blaming everybody for their own defeat right now.
I think the physicality has gotten the headlines of this series so far, but I think Barkov is the story of this series so far. He's having his moment.
He's been great. Yeah.
He is having the moment where everybody, they were praising him like crazy after that game.
Well, because
comparing him to Mario Lemieux.
Well, because
easy.
The Barkov line has been great, and what a lot of the players for the Panthers were saying is, it's not normal to get the winning goal through 3 defenders, but it's been kind of normal for that guy this season. I don't understand how it is, Roy, that Zaslow traded Barkov last year. I have not heard you guys complain about any Panther more than playoff Barkov before this Barkov. Well,
he didn't score in the playoffs. That was a problem. But now he's scoring the playoffs right now. He's the leading candidate for Conn Smythe.
Ekblad we complained about, but Barkov was next on that list.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ekblad's been hampered by injury his entire career in the playoffs. Like you saw that breakaway in Game 2. He was a step slow.
You're saying if the season ended today, that Barkov is winning the Conn Smythe?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's been great.
Yeah.
I promised Katie Nolan, I promised her that we had her booked before the Boston Bruins lost in that fashion. We are not trying to consume all of her tears here, but this is where we have ended up because she loves her Boston teams. And is she ready, Chris?
She's having audio issues. She was able to hear us, and now she can. We're working on it.
Okay, excellent. So she is going to join us in moments because Boston is a little heartbroken the last couple of years. Last year's Boston team was better than this one. I don't know.
No, it was the best ever last year. The best team ever.
Best regular season team ever.
Yeah, absolutely. But this year, the Panthers just dominated in team defense. Like, if you look at the shot attempts and shots on goal, 304 for the Panthers, 175 shot attempts total for the Boston Bruins. So it's been a domination. They doubled them up.
If the Panthers can get through this, Dan, it will be quite the run because they beat the Tampa Bay Lightning, beating the Boston Bruins, and then taking on the Rangers. And if they beat them in the Eastern Conference Finals to get to a cup, well, you should be. The Rangers are probably the best team in hockey, but that would be quite the run. That would be because hockey has not happened. The favorites are winning most of these series. So that would be an incredible run to go through the Lightning, your nemesis, going through the Bruins, best team in the league last year, and just a point separated those two this year, and then taking on the Rangers and beating them, man, that would be great.
But what Roy is saying, though, this part is just different. I've not experienced this as a hockey fan or someone who has covered hockey in South Florida in the entire history in this market. The team is down 2-0. Its fans should be scared based on its history. Look at what Stugotz is doing with the Knicks based on his history. They cough up a game, and Stugotz is immediately he's just scarred by all of the past. The idea that this team, through its play, merits not just hope from its customers, but confidence from its customers, because there is no better feeling for a sports fan than knowing your team is great, not thinking it, knowing it, and then having it validated, because you've got a Bruins team that is and was excellent all season, has been excellent for 2 seasons. And what you're saying is true, Roy. Those numbers of shot attempts, you cannot sustain that and win a series. You cannot. Maybe if you've got the world's hottest goalie, but Boston doesn't have that.
Swayman, honestly, has been good in this series. He's the only reason that the goalie for Boston, he's the only reason this has been any kind of series.
Yeah, and they can easily switch to Allmark if they felt like in this next game as a desperation attempt. Like last year, they had the problem of switching goaltenders based off. Allmark was injured. They waited too late to go to Swayman. This time around, maybe they should go to Allmark because it's just not working for them.
Stugotz, you want to start with Katie? I am told that her audio issues have now been corrected.
I do want to start with Katie because I figured we would pick up where we left off last time we had her on the Tom Brady roast. She had many more opinions to give, many more thoughts on that, and I thought that was today the natural place to start with Katie.
We didn't get enough of those last time?
No, we did not.
She had some.
She said she had thousands. I counted hundreds that she gave out on the show. That means she has a couple of thousand to go, I think.
All right. Katie, do you have any more roast thoughts for us a week later?
I can flip back a couple pages. Trust me, there's nothing I'd rather talk about less than what I'm actually here to talk about. So we can totally about jokes. Let's do this quick. What do you guys got? What do we got to say?
What do you have on the Brady roast? I mean,
okay, how did all of that feel for you last night? I swear we thought.
Sorry, Katie.
Oh, what? Sorry. I keep cutting you off. It was bad. It was awful. It felt bad. The series has not felt good, and that felt worse. Because I had audio issues, have no idea what you guys have been saying about it. Where do you stand on the non-call?
Oh, I thought it was goaltender interference. Yeah, I thought that was a cheap goal that the Panthers were lucky to have, but Roy is saying that's not a call that gets made in the postseason, and he knows more about hockey than I do.
No, absolutely.
No,
that's a
he's
call
not
in the
wrong.
regular season.
Yeah, I get it. But here's the thing. It sucked. Here's the thing. Why doesn't everybody just throw somebody into the goalie then? Like, what?
If they're not going to call it.
Be out here doing that. You're not going to call it. If the thing, because I believe the rationale, Roy, correct me if I'm wrong. I will speak directly to you because I think you're the only one who might have even watched any of this game. The rationale was that because they can't call a penalty in a replay, it would have had to have been called a penalty before they went to the review for it to have possibly been a penalty.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you can't. how could you have possibly called it a penalty before it became a goal when the penalty happened as the goal was being scored?
Well, people are comparing this to the rush to the net in Game 3 that was called a goaltender interference on Boston, which is completely different. That was a rush to the net. This one was a slight little cross check.
Roy, we got lucky. Come on.
A slight little cross.
A slight little cross check.
It's emotional for me.
A slight little cross check by the guy who you could argue shouldn't have even been playing in that game, given the camera angle we oddly only got yesterday of him openly punching our captain.
Oh, well, are you saying that's a suspendable offense?
It
that
is.
punch?
It is.
I think it could be.
In fairness to Bennett, he claims he was bracing for contact.
Sure, and in fairness to Bennett, which I'm not interested in, there's a lot of things in hockey that you aren't meaning to do, and they happen, and you get in trouble for those things.
But Katie, what about that uppercut that David Pastrnak gave Anton Lundell?
Well, they called a penalty, Roy.
They did call it penalty, but she's saying the Sam Bennett punch was suspendable.
Because if you miss it after the fact, you go back and you look at that angle, which again conveniently came out yesterday. You can't give him a penalty. The game's over. So I feel like suspend him.
There was a makeup call with Ekblad late in that game. I think we're even.
Yeah, that was with 30 seconds left on the clock. I don't think it quite makes it up.
You should have scored with 15 seconds left. I thought you guys were going to tie the game there.
Dan, we should have scored a number of times, but the problem is when you put 14 shots on net, it's difficult. And I get it. Our coach has a philosophy of quality shots over quantity shots. But I think as we sit here about to be eliminated, I wouldn't mind if in the next game we tried quantity shots and we just hurled pucks at the net. Because I think there was a couple goals last night, at least that second goal proved that you hurl a puck at the net, anything can happen.
Have you ever heard shoot the puck chants?
Oh, I loved that.
It seems impossible. I mean,
in your arena, as if the players had forgotten and needed the helpful reminder from the fans.
Look, it's the thing that people yell that then you get made fun of for, of like, stop yelling, shoot the puck. But at that point, I think it was necessary. I don't know. I'm exhausted. This has been an exhausting series. I just don't understand how the second most penalized team in the league gets to the postseason and suddenly is a bunch of good boys. Oh, they're just a bunch of good boys.
Well, there's no scrums after the play. They're not starting the scrums, Katie. You guys are.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, he's accusing you of starting the scrums, Katie. He's chirping. We've reached chirping. We have escalated to chirping. How did you describe, Roy, what happened to Coyle? Because he's not a small human being, and he was thrown on the ice. Like, he fell down.
It was a slight cross check.
A slight cross check.
His momentum was going towards the goal, Dan.
He's not a small
See
human
his
being.
neck like snap back.
Roy definitely doesn't sound like a homer. I mean,
Where are people on this, though? Are they just lining up according to their allegiances? Like, I thought.
Yeah.
Well, but
Welcome to sports.
Did you watch the game?
Swayman said our coach wouldn't be challenging that unless he had a pretty good idea that he was going to win the challenge, like that he wasn't allowed to do his job. They were expecting to win that challenge.
I thought he was going to win the challenge. I thought he was going to win the challenge, but apparently not.
Okay, but then that suggests, why did you yes.
Got your ass, Dan. Apparently not.
Not in the postseason. He wins that challenge in the regular season. I mean,
but you thought you were.
I love when Stu, how much of this game did you watch?
None of it.
Thank you, Katie.
It was a good game. You should have.
Exciting game.
Saw the highlights. I was busy watching the Caitlin Clark documentary. I don't know about you.
You were busy
playoff hockey?
Being in it. He was busy.
I was in it. I was watching myself. Yeah.
Do you hate the Panthers though, Katie? Just based on their style of play?
Yeah, yes. I don't know. Of course I do.
I have a better question, Ashley. Do you hate the Panthers based off of last season? When you blew a 3-1 lead.
I hate anybody that isn't us, mostly. But yeah, I think the Panthers stink. I think it's a really bad message to send kids about mouth safety, to have a mouth guard, but never actually put it in one's mouth. And I think that you should have to lose a couple teeth for that.
Well, they all have, though. They've all lost a couple of teeth Put it on the poll,
Couple
please.
more.
Juju at Le Batard Show. Have all hockey players lost a couple of teeth?
How did Roy get away with just interrupting your question to say, I have a better question, actually?
And it was about last year.
We have been arguing all morning because I told him his team pulled one out of its ass last night and he didn't like it.
How dare you?
He didn't like it. They got lucky on a second goal that tied the game, and Roy doesn't like to be told that they got lucky there.
Just say it, Roy. You'll feel better. Just say we got lucky. It's okay.
I refuse to.
He does refuse to.
How about that?
Savvy veteran
All right,
move.
how about this? How about that puck luck when the puck goes through Bobrovsky's legs and then somehow
I
misses
missed
the goal?
net.
That was lucky.
Like, what is happening?
That was lucky. That was lucky.
It's just not in the stars. It's not in the stars for the Bruins this year, and that's fine. I think that getting out of that first round is more than we thought we were going to be able to do. We are not better than we were last season. It just stinks that the second round, this is the team that we play against who might get. It just sucks. It just sucks because you have 7 fans, and it's just a frustrating. It's just a frustrating situation. That means you're one of the top 10 fans, Roy. That's actually a compliment.
Thank you.
He's a journalist.
Who is the Panther you hate the most, Katie? Do you have some rankings here on the ones who are irritating you the most? Just because?
No, because they like that too much. You know, it's the obvious ones. Kachuk is the worst. I cannot stand him. But this is just fuel. People will love this. This is what they want. So, no, I'm not going to give you a list. I forget all their names the second the game is over because they mean nothing to me.
The experience of watching the teams in Boston, where are your allegiances strongest and weakest? Like, who breaks your heart the most among the teams?
The Bruins. The Bruins is my deepest emotional connection to a Boston team. This is the team my family has season tickets to. This is the sport that has been in my family my whole life. This is the sport my brother played, so this is the one I've been around the longest. And it just like Bruins losses affect not only me, but they affect the people I interact with. So it kind of like ruins. Last year was a brutal time for us in our family, and I wanted nothing like that to happen again this year. But yeah, the Bruins have my heart the most. Actually, right now, big PWHL fan, because that Boston team is winning. So they're up 2 games on Montreal, and that is who I will be watching on Tuesday night.
Did they Bruin Mother's Day?
Hey.
Dan.
For everybody
Dan.
in the Nolan family? No.
Dan.
See what you did there. I think.
Really? I don't feel like I
Dan.
deserve that. Look, she's still condemning me for how bad that joke was, and she said Dan 6 times, and you gave me the Hakeem Nicks laugh.
Jeremy here?
And I did not deserve it. But the reason that I asked the question, I did not know that the Bruins were your favorite team. I'm really not trying to agitate you, but in here, for some reason, everybody was still confident when the Panthers were down 2-0. Is the way these games are going, because the Bruins take fewer shots, because the Panthers take so many more, do you feel like they're being dominated, or do you feel like the series should be 2-2?
I don't know that I'd use the word dominated. I think that puts too much of it on the Panthers. Like, they're doing an incredible job. I think for me at least, and I'm no hockey expert, so whatever, you can feel within the first few minutes of the game which Bruins team we're looking at. And there's a couple times where it's been one with a fire lit under their ass. And then there's other times where it just feels like it's the team that's going to turn the puck over in the neutral zone and is not going to be able to clear the puck out of the defensive zone and or ever keep the puck and cycle it around in the offensive zone. So it's like it's a team that when I'm watching them, I don't feel like we've got this. And then with the elimination of the heart of our team, our captain, who everybody hates, but we love more than anything, I feel like it's just tough to have faith. But look, that's what being a fan is about. And I think that, you got to try to keep the faith the best you can. It's just like one of those series where it's like things are going to have to go our way for this to work out. And so I think that's why last night, when nothing was going our way, And it wasn't our own fault. It wasn't that our own. I'm going to get lit up for this. It wasn't the Bruins' fault because they weren't putting, pucks on net, or they weren't, I don't know, doing things correctly. And you don't want to be the people that are like, it's the ref's fault, but like that was just a brutal series of events. And so, no, I don't feel like they're being dominated, but I don't have a ton of faith that this is the year for the Bruins.
When you say, though, you know which team you're getting early, I would have thought that hopefully, given that Reinhart got laid out in the first shift when you threatened to lay out their top players and you get up to nothing, I would have assumed that is the Bruins team that you thought is the best that you're going to
But that's why yesterday is so crushing, because they actually got a good performance out of their hockey team.
You also Reinhart getting crushed was great, but that is the first thing that Charlie McAvoy has done that's made any difference in this series, and he didn't do much in the last one either. So it was great, and I loved that they showed the highlight 50 times. But I'm also sitting there being like, that. Well, at least he's here doing something. And then towards the end of the game, what Charlie McAvoy was doing was letting the puck squeak out of the zone when we had a 2-man advantage because it was 6-on-4. So yes. We were winning. I still don't think watching that game, I was like, this is the team I was hoping. They looked better, but still look at the shots by period. It wasn't a lot, and it needs to be more, especially when Bobrovsky, if you just lift the puck a little, he just has a very vulnerable upstairs. I don't know what that's about, but we don't seem to want to take advantage of it.
Put it on the poll. Does Bobrovsky have a very vulnerable upstairs? Katie, good seeing you. It's always good seeing you. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, I'm going back to bed. Go Bruins.
I have waited too long today to get to this. I know it's going to make Tony happy. I believe I saw the most ridiculous octagon entrance I have ever seen this weekend. I don't think I've ever seen a fight start so absurdly, wonderfully. I don't know where this is from. It reminded me of Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze character. I don't know if this fighter, Arthur Spilka, is his name. He's 3-0 in MMA. Tony, what can you tell me about this entrance? Because the funniest part about it, I saw it, and then I went and did some research about some things that make it even funnier than just the entrance. There is no water in this cryogenic chamber that he is in that is made to look like he is coming in underwater, correct? He is dry and just making it look like those wires and tubes are feeding him oxygen that he needs to be underwater, correct? Because otherwise he'd be going into the octagon totally wet.
Correct.
And winded, possibly.
The tubes look very small, too, so it's hard to keep your breath when the tubes are very small underwater. But he gets basically wheeled to the stage in like a wheelbarrow. But imagine.
Wait, it's not true? Because I saw that as well. I was very excited. I was thinking about moving to Green Bay. I mean.
No, it is Wisconsin state law.
Because you love Wisconsin so much.
cannot
You always talk about how much
I love heaters. I mean.
Yes, you cannot vape and smoke, but I have to basically double check all the time where information is coming from. Also, what I had to look up when I saw this is, was this recently or did I miss it the first time that it happened? So when I looked it up, I then found out the single funniest thing about this, which is that guy came to the ring that way and then was knocked out in 15 seconds.
No way.
Lasted 14 seconds after that intro.
That's great.
Well, he didn't have his mojo back, so.
The intro was longer than the fight.
By a lot. You cannot. Put it on the poll, please. Can you enter a fight in a cryogenic chamber and then get knocked out in 14 seconds? Like that, I mean.
You can't do
He
it.
must have been awoken too fast or something.
You have to just last longer than that. Just run away for longer than that so they can't say that you entered like that and then got immediately knocked out.
You have to, at the very least, go the distance. If you're going to make that kind of entrance, you can't do it in 14 seconds. You can't lose.
Dan, when you started talking about a cryogenic chamber with no water, I thought you meant our studio today because our water's down and we have no air conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of daily obstacles that people don't know about that affect the performance.
And
of
that
their
roller
show.
coaster
Josh Hart
upstairs.
would say that this is harder than what he does.
We do have like this machine that like tries to helpfully tell us how many water or how many bottles of water we've saved the earth from or whatever. And I think we passed like 10,000 recently.
How about us?
But here's the thing. That machine is constantly breaking down. You know what doesn't break down? A bottle of water. Which is why we need the machine, but still doesn't let me down.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. You know what doesn't break down? A bottle of water. Yes or no? Let's get to a fight that ended and the celebration that happened afterward. There are very few people as disliked, and I like him because I like the guys who are jerks. But Derek Lewis is jerky, right? I mean, he was waving his shorts in front of a guy he had just knocked out this weekend after winning the fight. He took off his shorts after mooning everybody and waved them in front of his knocked out opponent.
So Derek Lewis, knockout king of the UFC in the heavyweight division. He's got more knockouts than anybody, the Black Beast himself. He's known for a lot of interesting celebrations. He also is famously the guy who took off his shorts and said, "My balls were hot." Yeah. If you remember that a couple of years ago.
I'm right there with him.
That's kind of where it started. This is, hey, my balls are hot. That's why I took off my shorts. He knocked out Rodrigo Nascimento, and he was airing him out like, "Come on, buddy, like wake up." After the fight, he said, "I wasn't going to let a taxi driver from Brazil beat me," which I thought was also funny. But as you can see, a little bit of swamp ass that he's got going on. You know, he's got the gray Under Armour, which I probably would have gone black there to avoid the swamp ass.
He's a badass and an ass. And waving your shorts in front of a man you've knocked out when he can't see or smell them because you've just knocked him out
Still awesome.
is awesome and disrespectful, like wildly disrespectful.
Also threw his cup into the crowd, which he signed.
Wow.
It looked like a reporter caught it and was just like, why am I holding this?
Regrets catching it.
Someone needs to just go punch him in the wiener after a fight. That'll put an end to a lot of this.
That's a 5-minute.
Well, it'll put an end to your own life because that man.
Well, there's a lot of people in the ring. Someone will stop it. And if I go and I punch him in the wiener, I'm a fighter. So, like, it's not like Billy Gill punching him in the wiener.
You also have like 10 minutes to run because once you punch any man in the wiener, you have like 10 minutes before they recover.
That's a flick.
Yeah.
Flick's worse than a punch sometimes.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I'd rather have a flick.
No, you would not. You would most definitely not.
Then a punch?
Yeah, yeah.
You're
it depends
right,
on where you
Chris.
get flicked, though.
No, well, I think we're talking about where you're getting flicked.
On the balls.
Yeah, but there are certain places within
Yeah.
that region where it hurts a little bit
Where else?
more.
Yeah,
you
then
know?
a punch. Sometimes
Right.
you'd like to take the full punch instead of the
Yes.
flick. The flick, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
more damage than the punch.
Mm-hmm.
Good to know.
Jessica, well, it's not good to know because it's inaccurate. Like
It's not.
It's
It's
just,
not.
It's
It's
just
not.
Billy
It's
and
not.
Stugotz being Billy and
No,
Stugotz.
it's not. Have you ever been flicked?
Let's try it. Come on in here and we'll do it with you.
I'm not flicking you.
Dan, I also have some sad news to report. Our Cuban fighter, Robelis Espain, who was the biggest knockout artist on the planet, had 4 fights that lasted 10 seconds each, lost to Waldo Acosta Valdez, a Dominican guy who just took him down for 3 straight
Can't lose
fights.
to a Waldo.
3 straight rounds, had 19 minutes of ground control. He never got up. Looks like the steam's gone out of the big boy.
You can't lose to a Waldo. Stugotz is right. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Can you lose
had no
a
shot
fight?
either.
Can you lose a fight to a Waldo? Also, is a flick to the balls worse than a punch at Le Batard Show?
You're going to be surprised at those results, I'm telling you.
Not balls. Not balls.
He's right.
Then
I don't want to be too
Shaft?
graphic here. Well, not balls.
Well, can you tell whoever's posting the poll question so we at least get the question right?
Say the helmet.
For some.
That for some was excellent executive
that's the
producing by
turtleneck.
you. A flick is not worse than a punch in any circumstance.
To the helmet.
Billy. No, I got it, Stugotz. I got it. All right?
What's the helmet for then?
Like the helmet is like the
Protector.
most prepared for that. Of all the things in that area.
Especially prepared for a flick, I would say. Like, especially prepared for that. Like, a punch, not prepared for. No one's prepared for a punch.
Everyone's going to come in with one of those concussion things on their helmet tomorrow.
One of those giant, one of the
Caps.
Not all
one
giant.
of those things. What are those called? That had that Lego thing that the football
Guardian caps.
Everyone's going to come in with one of those as protection. That's right, protection from a flick. I had a friend of mine, Stugotz, had made me laugh this morning because he talked about Mother's Day in a way that I thought was both sad and funny because he loves his wife, who is a wonderful mother, but he was lamenting the number of things that he had to do yesterday that he didn't want to do, that included the buying of flowers, which he described this way to me. I will spend my entire week walking past a table where it will look to me like 70 of my dollars are wilting. 70 of my dollars are falling apart when I would have preferred green flowers that had 3 20s and a 10 on them. Because he was bothered by having to buy flowers when it was not heartfelt, and yet
It was forced.
I don't know. Well, it's a commercial holiday that is forced on people, but you also want to appreciate the mothers in your life. And flowers, honestly, is a bare minimum on effort of making effort for a mother on that day?
5 cards and a flower. That's usually what I go with.
5 cards?
Yeah, 5 cards. I get a card. No, I'm great at picking out cards at CVS or Walgreens. I'm an expert at it.
That goes along with flowers as like the bare minimum, though. If all you're doing is flowers,
It's bare minimum. They're staples.
card?
No, they're staples to Mother's Day. That and no sex, at least for me. Right.
Sounds like your friend didn't use 1-800-Flowers because, boy, is that
Right.
quick and easy to use, and what a gift.
Right. I get 2 cards from me, 1 from Emma, 1 from Rachel, 1 from the family. Actually, I go 6 deep sometimes. I get 1 from Finney. I mean, that's how
I've
you
done
do
that.
it.
That's
from
good.
the animal.
Yeah.
The dog card is great.
I just cashed a bet, by the way, that you would make that joke today. So I'm gonna go get that money.
How do you
The
sign?
no sex.
How do you sign it from Finney? What do you do?
I signed it for Finney.
I rough you.
You draw a little paw print.
No, I don't do
You
I
put
rough
the-
you. I
the
thought
dog
about
name.
doing I rough you, but I don't do it. Just love Finney.
I sent my grandma flowers from 1-800-Flowers.
Holy shit, Jessica!
No voicemail, just a text message. Really dropped the ball.
Wow, she's spoiled now. You've spoiled her.
Yeah, I guess.
The idea, Stugotz, that the greatest gift you give on Mother's Day is your wife not having to see or be around you naked.
Yeah. She doesn't have to see my helmet.
Oh God.
Every day is Mother's Day in the Wiener household. I was surprised to learn, Stugotz, this weekend that there are no mascots from the state of Florida in the Mascot Hall of Fame. Not
Because that place is a sham.
Single one. What?
That's right.
He's right.
Mascot Hall of Fame is a sham. Anti-democracy sham.
Wow.
I'm not going to get started on it. You're not going to goat me into this. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to do it. Sham.
Well, I didn't invite.
They hate freedom. They hate democracy. They hate elections.
Wow.
I didn't invite you to talk about this.
You won't. You won't get my thoughts on it. It's not going to happen. Not
Well,
today.
I already got
Not
your
today.
thoughts on it.
Oh,
And
no,
they're
I haven't even started.
They're very strong thoughts that you seem to be having on it, even though both Bernie and Sebastian the Ibis are up for election. You can vote mascothall-of-fame.com/the-vote-2024 if you want to.
Real easy to find Mascot Hall of Fame, idiots. And then you know what they do with those votes? They wipe their asses with them. They don't care about your votes or you as people.
What do you mean?
How do you know this?
Because look, all right, fine. If you must know.
This guy gets started here.
This is what happened. This Mascot Hall of Fame has existed for years, and they have fan voting, right? And about 10 years ago, Billy the Marlin was up for fan voting. And Billy the Marlin won the popular vote of the fan vote, the most vote amongst all the fans.
But
Billy
not
the Marlin.
Electoral College didn't vote for him.
And then they announced the class, and the lead vote getter, Billy the Marlin, was not part of the Hall of Fame class.
Wow.
Because they asked for your votes, but as I previously stated, they then wipe their furry, colorful asses with said votes. They don't care about your votes. They don't care about your democracy. They just want publicity, and they just want you to talk about their sham-ass Hall of Fame that doesn't care about your voting. So I say don't vote for these mascots. Don't vote for this Hall of Fame. Don't pay attention and pay any mind to this half-bit, two-rate, whatever Hall of Fame that it is. Where is it even? Does it even exist? Not to me.
It's outside of Chicago and Indiana.
Oh, please.
Half bit?
That's right.
There's actually no talking allowed in the Mascot Hall of Fame.
Oh, get over yourself.
Is that true?
Pretty sure he was joking, Stugotz. I was pretty sure that.
You know, they promote it as just 30 minutes away from downtown Chicago. I hate that. You know what? Like, don't use Chicago, just a short 30-minute drive to Indiana from Chicago to the Mascot Hall of Fame. What you're telling people is we're not in Chicago. We're in some place you don't want to go to. That's it. I mean, that's what they're
There's
telling
no
you.
talking because they want to
Kenosha.
silence your voice.
Yeah.
They don't care about you, as I've previously stated.
Yep.
But it is 30 minutes from. It's like right by the Horseshoe Casino.
Yeah, but when you say you're 30 minutes from a major city, it means you're in the middle of nowhere.
Sean Connery.
It's like Troy.
Right.
Put it on the poll, Juju. When you say you're 30 minutes from Chicago, does it mean that you're in the middle of nowhere? Because it's a gift that Milwaukee has. They tried to sell Lillard on that. You'll love it.
That's a lot
so
farther
close to
than
Chicago, but it's
Couple
not.
it's a couple of hours from Chicago. That is a trick that they use. They do that. And I just heard Stugotz moments ago saying that Chicago was the best summer city in the United States.
It's amazing because in the summer, I would put Chicago up against any other state in the summer. In fact, I think it's better than any other state. It's beautiful. But in the winter, it is a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. And I'm not certain we have a city in America that goes from hell to heaven that quickly.
I can't argue with you. It is one of the greatest cities in the world, Stugotz, in the summer. But the Mascot Hall of Fame's not claiming to be in Chicago and isn't Chicago. It's claiming to be 30 minutes from Chicago, which it is, just to clarify.
Yeah, but you could drive 30 minutes anywhere, like in any direction from Chicago, and where you end up is in the middle of nowhere.
I would say like an hour. But
right.
yeah, like the Chicagoland area is pretty big and very well populated.
Right. But I do think that Stugotz is generally right that cities masking as trying to be bigger than they actually are do that trick, and it's a rhetorical trick of, hey, we're not as bad as you think we are. We're just 30 minutes outside of a place you actually like.
If like by his logic, Evanston is the middle of nowhere because that's 30 minutes from Chicago.
22 minutes. I mean, a little different. I mean, it's
Is it?
Indiana.
Is it? Wait a minute. How is it a little? It is 8 minutes different, so I guess it is a little different than. But you're saying that 22 minutes isn't a smear, but 30 minutes is?
Yeah, 30 minutes, and I'm certain it's not 30 minutes. I'm certain it's really 45 minutes to an
Why
hour
are
with
we
traffic.
ripping
perhaps
the
3
Mascot
hours.
Hall of Fame
Because
as
it
communist?
sucks.
Because of what Billy said.
Because
don't
it's
ask for our
sucks.
votes if you don't want them.
I'm not saying storm the Mascot Hall of Fame, but
Storm?
I didn't say that.
An insurrection?
No, I didn't say that.
You're not. You
Speaking
don't.
of furry ass,
Just saying. I mean,
Quiet one.
I know one mascot up for a vote.
electors shall be made up comprised of three typo idiot Hall of Fame 3 different voting bodies: the public, whom we don't care about, it says here, members of the Mascot Hall of Fame, so mascots are voting apparently, and executive committee members. Get off your high horses, or Broncos and Mustangs and whatever other horses are in there.
Are there any mascots on the committee?
I don't know.
Well, yes, I think he just said that the mascots are.
Mascots can
No, he
vote,
said the
apparently.
mascots who are in can vote, and then he said the committee members can
Oh,
vote.
multiple votes? That can't be. Then it would be un-American.
There's
If
3
you-
different
well,
bodies
actually-
that vote on it, Dan.
Well, yeah, but
I got to tell you,
can't
I'm
vote
looking at this
twice.
committee,
Checks
and
and
I don't want
balances.
to judge books by the cover, but this seems like a whole bunch of people I would never want to be in a
Nerds.
room
They look
with.
like nerds.
Oh,
I love mascots. I don't think
I do too.
I don't think Wilbon and I have ever had a bigger argument than Wilbon's hatred of mascots, which to me strikes like if you let's put this on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you really love sports if you hate mascots? If you hate mascots,
I hate mascots. I've said it here on the show before.
I know, but
I'm with Wilbon.
Okay, you have
All
said
mascots, like even the sausages that run around.
Yeah, stupid.
I will say this.
President's stupid.
The president?
Yeah, the presidents that run.
Whoa, careful.
Sebastian deserves to be in, though, and probably deserved it a while ago.
Yeah, it
right?
doesn't matter though what you think.
Right.
It's all up to Zoltan and Robert and Chris and Julie
Zoltan?
and yeah.
Like the game? You remember the Zoltan game that you would put like a quarter in and you'd have to like squeeze it?
I'm here looking at like this executive committee, and I will say this, and I'll come right out and say I don't know the first thing about being a mascot. But I know that the mascot, you're not supposed to be pictured with your head off. And there's multiple pictures of the executive committee in mascot costumes without heads on. And I feel like they should be dismissed from the committee immediately and sent to mascot hell.
wow. How is it possible that your opinion on this is stronger than any opinion that you have on anything
Because
ever?
I like democracy. I like a voting process. You know who doesn't? Zoltan. You know who doesn't? Glenn Street. You know who doesn't? Joe Doyle won't even show his face here on the Mascot Hall of Fame Executive Committee pictures.
You just got mad at someone else for showing their face.
No, but there's someone here like,
He's all over the place.
Tom Hansen is here and you see him with his,
That's a picture from Facebook.
checkered shirt, exactly, a Facebook picture. That's fine. But Bromley Lowe here with the fuzzy gloves on.
this guy.
AJ Mass apparently was the Blue Claws
He was
mascot.
a former Mr. Met.
We got to talk to someone from this committee.
Dan Mears, no, we will not. Dan Mears is just holding a coyote head, which means he was either a coyote mascot or he decapitated one.
I think he was the Kansas City Wolf.
Whoa, look at those hands.
Oh.
When you guys mention mascot hell, what do you imagine is happening down there? Because I've got the Colts mascot, and his tail is on fire, and he's banging his head on the goalpost because the opposing team has made another field goal, but he's a game-winning field goal. But he's doing it for eternity. Like he's doing it. It is his worst living experience.
I've got the New Jersey Devil down there.
Yeah. Oh, he's very
He
popular.
runs
down
the
there.
place.
Yeah, that's
He
right.
runs.
Of course he does.
All the others are scared of him. Even the Demon Deacons are terrified of him.
Well, how about the Duke Blue Devil? Where is he in the ranking?
Low. He's
Really?
dismissed.
Huh.
All
Just like this loser over here. His Blue
Yeah,
Devil.
all the other mascots hate him, but just because he's from Duke. It's not even because he's blue.
It's just Duke.
Yeah, it's just Duke. They yell at him about Christian Laettner. They're like, you're always slapping the court and taking charges. We hate you. We hate everything you represent.
The Nittany Lion is a terrible
The
mascot.
Nittany Lion.
What? Nittany.
Thank you, Roy.
Nittany.
Terrible mascot.
In the hall.
They run out of money? Like, I'm going to buy a new costume? Like, what is this?
Do you want to tell people visually what it is, or do you want to keep doing this show where
got
you
a weird face.
read weird names from this book, and that's what the show is, where you just read the names of the executive committee of the Mascot Hall of Fame?
Big Red is in there from Western Kentucky. I mean,
That's
how is
the
Sebastian
greatest
not in the Hall
mascot
of
of
Fame?
all time.
No, it's not. But
Bill
okay,
Red?
I'm not saying it's not deserving, but how is that in and Sebastian is not?
Just keep.
No one knows Sebastian.
What has Sebastian ever done?
Thank you, Chris.
He got arrested at an FSU game. He got arrested. There's a
Well, that's probably why he hasn't been elected. Bad behavior.
There you go. There's a morals clause in
Didn't
the Mascot
Bernie get
Hall
into
of
it one
Fame.
time if we're here?
No, Bernie.
No.
He got knocked out by
Pulled
Conor
someone
McGregor.
out into
Slugger is there, a minor league mascot. That's a different Hall of Fame. Imagine a minor league Hall of Fame. You know what the minor leagues are for? Mascots that can't cut it in the major leagues. Why are we putting Slugger in the Hall of Fame? Minor league mascot. What a joke.
Can you guys get for me, please, the photograph of Sebastian the Ibis being arrested, put in handcuffs at the Florida State Seminoles Doak Campbell Stadium? It is one of the great moments in mascot history.
Maybe that's keeping him out.
I want to know what it is that you guys think we'll also find in mascot hell. What
Did
else?
the leprechaun make it to heaven?
Should a college team that has a live animal, should the mascot go into the Hall of Fame?
There are no living mascots in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Oh,
There's
Ralphie
no
should be
doggies.
Ralphie should be in the Hall of Fame. The buffalo,
Mike the Tiger.
Iso's PETA prevented them from putting.
All right, go sit in the penalty box for not getting the joke out without being able, like finding yourself so funny that you couldn't even finish the joke.
Oh man,
that's not even because you're making it at my expense. It's just because you couldn't finish it because you snorted into the microphone, laughing at how funny you are, making fun of me. What the hell's going on around here today?
Boomer, the Pacers mascot, is in the Hall of Fame. Can you have a mascot you've never even heard of? Boomer? Get out of here.
Dan, when you referenced Sebastian getting arrested, I thought of the picture in black and white, like from a newspaper clipping, and then they put up the picture, and I was like, yes, that's it. Newspaper, black and white. That's exactly what it was.
Also, I'm not here to criticize the mascots. I'm here to criticize the Mascot Hall of Fame. But Blue, the Colts mascot, is in the Hall of Fame. Blue is a Colt, yet has human hands wearing wide receiver gloves. Blue should have hooves. If you're a good mascot, you should have hooves if you're a horse.
Do you guys realize how crippling my insecurity is to see right in front of us on our television that my memories are in black and white?
Oh no.